I swear, I keep debating whether to keep the robe on or off. Okay, no vagrancy today. Stick off the robe. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you can see, I'm just sitting down, just chatting to you today because it's just been a while. Now, excuse me, I know I've been robed for so many videos that, I've been looking rough and all this other stuff, but it is what it is, This transition is rough for a old person like me. So here we are. So how you do? Everybody all right? Yeah? Good. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about how I've been changing, how I've been manifesting a few things, and how I've just been managing with the changes and all that other good stuff. I want to talk about mindset and how your mindset is so powerful for your growth and your healing and all this other stuff. So one of the main points I'm going to mention today is that I started writing again, which is something that I thought I would never be able to do. And I'm really excited about it because I really thought that my brain was so broken that I wouldn't be able to do it. So if you're into that kind of stuff, then stay with me. We'll chat. All right? So as I mentioned earlier on, I started writing again. I was kind of forced into it because I had to do a communications class in school and I had to write about my personal experience, which it turns out that college is all just writing. Imagine my surprise, right? It's been a while since I've been in school, so but either way, I was really bothered by the idea that I had to write again because I felt like my brain hadn't healed enough and I wasn't processing as fast or as well as I was in the past. So I was really struggling with the assignment. It was like just a 3-page slight writing deal, and I was so stressed. So what I ended up doing was just making a deal with myself that if I could go through this, if I could just allow myself to go through the process, healing or not healing, just go through it, just be where I was and accept myself, then things would be okay. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it was such a practice in self-love and self-efficacy. Like I had to start believing in myself. I had to start believing that I was able, I could do this, I can actually do this. And so if you're struggling with something, the first thing I want to tell you is start believing in yourself and start trying and see what happens. So one of the things that I was able to manifest recently was a move from a almost impossible situation, let's say. So when I came into the new city that I'm living in now, I wanted to stay in a cottage. I wanted a month to just, get started with school and just relax and not have to do all the running around to find a new place. With that said, I had paid for a cottage, and the cottage was out of the city bounds, which I didn't realize at the time. When I'd done the Google Map, feature, I noticed that the school was 15 minutes away from this cottage. So I thought, okay, I'll hop in an Uber because my car would be in Toronto with my son. So I figured I'm going to hop into an Uber. It's going to be easy peasy, or I'll just jump on a bus. First of all, there were no buses. None. Secondly, there's no Uber in the city. So I had to figure out how I was going to get to school and back. So for about the first week and a half, I was in a non-refundable kind of contract in the cottage, and I was supposed to stay there for a month. While I was there, my girlfriend sent me this Florence Scovel Shinn meditation, which I really needed, and I was listening to it for about a week before I got there. So it was a beautiful thing to do. I thought, how am I going to get out of this thing? And then I did the magician's hat. So those of you who are not familiar with Frances Scovel Shinn, she is a metaphysical teacher and a writer, and she focuses on how to change your mindset to attract more positive and beautiful things, experiences, and people into your life. So the meditation that I was using was talking about different exercises that you can use to just, improve your mindset and start seeing that the universe is on your side and will bring you things if that's what you want. So at the time, I wanted to get out of the cottage because I knew it was a non-refundable kind of situation. And I was already 1 week in, and, it was too much. I was going to spend too much money going to school because the buses didn't come all the way to the county. So I did the exercise, which is ultimately, it's a visioning exercise where you just imagine that there is a magician's hat, and you say the words like, I am envisioning I'm pulling from the magician's hat, and you insert whatever it is that you want. And you say it a couple times, and you just imagine that it's coming to you, and you just give thanks, and you just keep going, and you do it over and over again. At least that's the way I did it. So what I was pulling from the magician's hat was a way to get out of the cottage, because I knew it was an impossible situation. I couldn't go and argue with the people at Airbnb because I'd signed the contract and I said I was already there. So I started doing the meditation. It was a week before I moved into the cottage. And then the week after, I started doing it again. And I did it for about 2-3 days. So let's say I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By the Thursday, I got a notice. When I came home from school, I got a notice stuck into the door that says the area, because we were right on the river, and they said the area was going to be experiencing some kind of frazzle ice, and we'd have to move out from the cottage. I found that really interesting because I thought, wow, I asked and it's being delivered. I contacted the owners, the host on Airbnb, and they were so kind. They were so nice. They were like, okay, no problem. You have to get to higher ground. I think it's high enough, but if you don't feel safe, then we'll give you a refund for the days that you weren't there, and it should be fine. Just find a different place and move on, and it's fine. That was a manifestation, and it happened so fast that I was surprised, which I shouldn't be because I've seen these manifestations happen before. The next manifestation was just manifesting this place that I'm in now. So like I mentioned, I was in the cottage. I wanted to stay in the cottage, do some yoga, see the beautiful sights, and just chill for a month before I had to look for a place. But that didn't work out that way, and I manifested getting out of the cottage. Now I had to get into a new place because staying in a hotel, as I mentioned in my other video, my last video, it was expensive. It was more expensive than staying in the cottage. And it was just not convenient. I was having to eat out all the time or cook in a hotel, it's okay, for a period, but it wasn't the best thing. So I wanted to find a place. I called my stepmom. She's a praying warrior. She's somebody who just prays. So I called her and I said, okay, pray for me. I'm going to find a place. That I find the best possible place for us that's reasonably priced and beautiful, and it's close to school and all the good amenities. She said, okay, bet. So within a week of leaving the cottage, I started looking at places, and I was just getting I was seeing a lot of places, but they weren't that great. I saw this one place and I said, okay, this is the one. I want this one. So I pulled it out of the magician's hat. I did the same ritual, and I said thank you, and I moved on, and I put it in my phone as my place. And it took me a week, but it was mine. It was just done. So this is not staying stable. So the third manifestation had to do with this place again. When I finally got the place approved, my student loan hadn't kicked in. I'd been living off of my credit cards and using up all of the money that I had. I transitioned from my job, so I was no longer working, so there was no paycheck coming in. And so I was so scared because I needed to come up with first and last. I kept looking at the student loan date, and it kept moving further and further. Every time I would check, it would move further by a day. So I said, okay, I'm not going to check it anymore. I alerted my girlfriends. I was like, listen, I'm going to need some money, all this other stuff. So one of my best friends, she's just buying a brand new house. She was like, girl, I'll send you what I have, but we're going to do it kind of so it doesn't mess up the whole process. And so, with all that going on, there was just all this blockages. I couldn't get any money coming to me. It was almost like I was going to, it was self sabotage because it felt like I was just going to lose the place and I was going to be stuck in the hotel, or I was going to drop out of school. What was going on with student loan, I had no idea. So, it was coming down to the wire. I needed to move by the end of the month, and it was like 3 days to the end of the month, and I wasn't seeing anything about student loan. The Friday I said, okay, if I don't see it by the Friday, I'm just gonna leave it up to God, to divine. I'm just gonna let it be. So knowing myself, by the Monday I didn't see it. The time was moving again, and I said, okay, that's enough. I called in. When I called in, they said blah blah blah, some restrictions and all this other stuff that was going on. Nothing having to do with me. But there was nothing I could do about it. Well, ultimately, that's what they said. So again, I went back to my ritual and I did I'm pulling from the magician's hat, a release of my student loans. I need this money. I need to get started. I don't want to drop out of school. I've moved my whole entire family into this new city. I don't want to be messed up. The same day, I got a call and they said, okay, so this is what's going on with your student loans, and so you have to call the federal government to say this and this. I called the federal government. They said, no, there's no such restriction. You're fine. You're supposed to have your money. I don't understand why the student loan company is not releasing it. So I called them back and forth. One of the highest supervisors took the case on, and she was calling me. We're on a first name basis now. So what ended up happening was that the student loan was released without prejudice, right on time. When I say right on time, I'm telling you, I was down to my last dollar. I was like, girl, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay for movers? How am I going to, child, let me tell you. But I had to release it. I remember after I spoke to everybody, I went and I took the boys out for dinner, and I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it up to God now. My girlfriend was trying to send me money. It was just not happening. Western Union was just spazzing out, saying they don't have no money. It's going to take a month before they could send me the money. Never in my life had I heard anything like that, right? So I said, okay, I have to just rest it. And that's when I ended up calling the next Monday, and all of that just got expedited. And the money was released right in time. I can't even tell you the relief. So, saying all that to say that some of these things they might seem like they're a little bit airy-fairy, but if you can allow yourself a little bit of fun and adventure, if you can allow yourself a little bit of ease and just surrender and release your stresses, then you can create other things, beautiful things in your life that you need. The next thing that I'm going to be pulling out from the magician's hat in time when I'm ready, because right now the course load is really heavy and we're just now declaring that we're doing the dual major. So I want to make sure that I'm able to manage it all, but I do want to have a job, because being on a fixed income student loan is just it's not feasible for a family this size. So and then, my eldest, he's on his own and all this other stuff. So it's just me and, the rest of the boys. So I don't want to put myself in a financial strain. And I also don't want to strain my brain to say like, I have to be doing all this work and I have to be doing all this schoolwork as well. So within the time frame that I needed, when it's the best time for me, I'm going to ask for a really nice 24 hours a week job that I can do, something easy, something nice, something like my last job where I was being a companion to older adults and just making sure that they got their medication and all this other stuff. It was such a beautiful job and the team was amazing. So I am going to manifest that again. Only I couldn't do it because I needed the hours that they needed. I couldn't be there for that time. So that's the other thing that I'm going to be pulling from the magician's hat, and I'll let you guys know how that works and how it turned out. So the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is just to give you a bit of encouragement. Like, I know I can sometimes be a worrywart and I can just try to do everything, just force it. Like, I'm going to just do it. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to yell at people. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get it done. But sometimes, because we've been traumatized, or because we've been taught that we have to fight for everything, or that we have to be strong in every situation, we often don't know how to surrender and just allow God, divine, whatever spirit, whatever connection you have with source. We sometimes forget that some things are bigger than us, or some things could be easier if we could allow source to take care of it. And so this is why I'm sharing this with you guys. I know sometimes we go through a lot of struggles. We fight, we worry. But sometimes if you can just stop yourself long enough to say, I'm missing something, and maybe I'm doing the same thing I've ever done. How about I try something else? It would be so good for your soul, and it would be so good for your mental health. If I kept pushing and just waiting, student loan probably wouldn't have come in time. I wouldn't have got the place that I wanted. I would have been back into the hotel trying to beat up. So try this exercise if you have certain things that are just not going your way. If you're just struggling to find a job, to find a place, to get a new car, and I'll be, you can always comment, and I'll hold space for you, and I'll be there with you, helping you to manifest this thing. Sometimes we lose our way because we've been taught just to be too responsible for everything, feeling like if we don't take care of everything, we're going to lose our place in society, or whatever it is that we're afraid of. And sometimes we just need to learn how to surrender. Now, I don't know if what source, what energy, what God you believe in, and it really doesn't matter, because if you believe in God, then you believe in miracles. If you don't, then try it. Ask for something. The Bible says ask and it will be given to you. So just ask and expect that you'll get it. And even if you feel afraid, you'll be inspired to take action, because the inspired action for me was to ask the people to give me a chance to leave the cottage, and to ask for what's going on with the student loan. Those were inspired actions. So it's not like you're just going to ask and sit there and hold up your hand and expect for it to drop out of the sky. You will be inspired to take action. And then when that happens, just go ahead and take the action. So that is pretty much it for this week's video. I'm going to go back to doing assignments. I wish I could pull that out of the magician's hat, but there's some things you just have to do yourself. So comment and let me know if you actually try this activity, if you try this exercise, if it's given you any hope, if it's given you any results. And let's have a discussion around, miracles or manifestations, and how we can allow them to come into our lives and have better lives, just more fun, more adventure, see things happening for us, because truly the universe is conspiring to help you, not against you, but to help you. And there are certain things that come into our lives to teach us lessons, but there are other things that come into our lives to teach us that we're loved. I felt so loved, so wrapped in love when I manifested these things. Not because, I was getting what I wanted, but because of the way that God was just showing out. It was almost like, maybe God can't do this for me, or maybe the divine can't do this for me. And the divine was like, okay, hold my holy water juice or whatever, I don't know. But that is pretty much it before I start rambling. I love you guys. I hold space for you. I will see you in the next video. Be well, be loved, be balanced and happy.
Florence has an interesting way of looking upon God, the imaginator, the universal power, whatever you wish to call it. She said to look at it as the great magician. Just like when you see a magic show, they can draw what seems to be something out of nothing. Florence tells of a man who was in the real estate business, and he was asked to locate a 7-story building in a certain district for a client, and it seemed impossible to find what he wanted, and he soon became discouraged. Then he thought of the great magician's hat. He closed his eyes and said, "I now draw from the great magician's hat the right 7-story building in the right location. Very soon after that, he walked into the building that was suitable in every way. And you can pause this and answer, what do you want to pull out of the great magician's hat? And may you find it very soon as well.
Luxury breathing, but I don't think I'm living. Yeah, my mama be tripping, saying you